Huge spoiler alert from Spider-Man Brand New Day. I think that Jean Grey gave MJ and Ned their memories back at the end of the movie. Let's get into it, man.
Did Jean Grey restore MJ and Ned's memories of Peter Parker? Or would that have caused their brains to ooze out of their noses? I'm Eric Voss of the New Rockstars channel, and let's talk about what really happened in the final act of Spider-Man Brand New Day. The final scene suggests that Ned might have begun to fully remember Peter from doing the motions of their shared handshake, while MJ ends this movie sitting on the same rooftop of the place she sat with Peter and Ned in No Way Home, holding that broken Black Dahlia necklace that most represented her ongoing love for Peter. So when Jean possessed MJ and Ned, why was MJ crying? Make that a New Rockstars thumbnail. And is Peter's future with MJ or with a Gwen Stacy? We have so many great Marvel themed designs available at our merch store nerdriot.stars, like Spider-Man Brand New from Spider-Man No Way Home.
We gotta skip a little bit, Chad. We had to skip that, man. We don't do no ads on the channel, not just yet. We're already showing love to New Rockstars by watching the video, man. That was like a 3 out of 10 though. I kind of missed the ad.
Marvel Studios title card bumper shows how not just these characters' memories warped, but that physical records of Peter were warped in interesting ways to keep Spider-Man as part of the history, but remove or creatively mask Peter Parker's public connection to any of those events. So Ned and MJ remember Spider-Man saving them, but only 3 times, remembering the Washington Monument from Homecoming, Tower Bridge in London and Far From Home, and the Statue of Liberty in No Way Home. They don't remember Spider-Man as being connected to Venice or Prague in Far From Home, because in Venice it was Mysterio and a random dude in a Commedia dell'arte mask who kept smacking into a bell that saved them there, and in Prague it was Mysterio and the Night Monkey. I mean, society in general remembers Mysterio as the way his posthumous video presented himself before the video added the part about Peter Parker. Mysterio just being a fallen hero who was at odds with Spider-Man in London. That's partly why Yelena Belova mentioned to Spider-Man.
Yo, yeah, for those of you who've seen this movie, if you didn't see it, you obviously missed out, and we're not doing a spoiler alert so much time after, right? The movie's out, it was great, go watch it. But what's up with this hot tub scene? I never understood the spa, and this is a dingy looking spa, the dingy spa hot tub scene. I never really understood that at all. Or him like raising his feet up in the water. I don't understand that. It's a little cringe.
In the Russian bathhouse, the graphic Spider-Man fan art online involving 10 Mysterios. 10? On one level, that would reflect the illusion nightmare Mysterio trapped Spider-Man in Berlin. But it also makes us wonder what those 10 Mysterios were doing to one Spider-Man in that artwork. I mean, really, this entire bathhouse scene awakened a number of things in a lot of people, it seems.
This better not awaken anything in me.
When Peter first
Hey, yo, what was that? That was crazy. And by the way, Tom Holland looks great, by the way. No homo. Tom Holland looks great, by the way. Like, what? Like, these movies, the mental and physical strain that they put these actors through, it's just better for their personal physique and life, I think.
Nights with MJ in this film, we see she's still wearing the broken Black Dahlia necklace from Spider-Man Far From Home that the final scene of No Way Home used to indicate that some part of MJ might still hold Peter, or the idea of Peter being out.
That don't make sense. Her still having that and not knowing why or where or how she got it, they never even explain like her still having that and wearing that. She shouldn't know what that is, and it shouldn't have no value to her. Because there's like no sense of her remembering them at all. Like in the movie, when they were at the Punisher's hideout, she made sure to let him know, yo, I don't love you at all. I don't remember nothing. So that necklace shouldn't mean nothing. So I wonder what the gap is there. But I do think Jean fixed them though. I do think at the end, towards the end, I think Jean fixed them. Accident.
There in her heart. That look MJ gave after Peter left the donut shop was described in that movie's screenplay as a possible look of recognition, ? And while talking with Ned at the house party, explaining why she turned down the job offer, she says, I don't know, I know it sounds cheesy, but something's telling me that I'm supposed to be waiting for something great, you know? And she looks off in the direction of Maynard. Actually, this reminded me of a moment I think everyone missed during the opening montage when Peter was looking at Ned's Instagram, and MJ and one of the Instagram stories asked, who's watching your videos, Ned? As if she sensed that someone out there was watching, and that someone might belong more in Ned's life than she does. Because I think MJ is enough of an empath or enough of a paranoid person to just sense when she's the third wheel or just the second pick of the person that she hangs out with the most. But in the party, the thought of something great is intercepted by Iman Esfandi as the boyfriend. Actually, certain screenings of this movie with subtitles
Yo, I ain't gonna lie, this part crushed me. This part crushed me, chat. I ain't gonna lie, like, just him being there in real time and him seeing that, and then him running away with the web shooters while he going through this crazy, traumatic web change and spider change, bro. That crushed me. I know that had to hurt. I don't wish that on nobody, bro. I don't wish that on nobody. I know that had to hurt, yo.
Confirmed that this character's name is Paul, which might
Comment below if you watched that part and you felt that. Man, listen, the girls don't gotta get it, man, but the fellas got me, man. But the fellas got me. Y'all get it.
confirm the theory that he is meant to be the comic character Paul Rabin, the most hated boyfriend of Mary Jane in the comics from the recent Zeb Wells run, in which Mary Jane is stranded in another reality and kind of time dilates 4 years with Paul and ends up caring for 2 kids that Paul and MJ believe are theirs, but this is all the doing of Paul's father Benjamin, who becomes the emissary of the Mayan-inspired god Wyatt. Seriously though, Paul sucks. Then later when Jean Grey inhabits MJ, after revealing this to Peter on the rooftop, she says of MJ's mind, there is like no thoughts of you in here whatsoever. And later when MJ finds
Which is what I'm saying about the Black Dahlia necklace. If Jean Grey is in her mind saying, yo, there's no memories of you in here. And then MJ is saying, yo, I read your note, Peter, but there's no memories of you in my mind at all. And I don't love you. I barely even know you. Then that Black Dahlia necklace shouldn't mean nothing. And her lingering suspicious feeling shouldn't mean nothing. I don't see how that makes sense, man. What do y'all think in the comments? Do you think it makes sense for her to have this airy air around her of suspicion? If they keep on telling us that she has no memory in her mind. They keep nailing that point home of, yo, I forgot you. So why is she so suspicious if she just forgot him? You know what I mean? She can't move on, but she totally forgot. Come on, bro. Make it make sense. What do y'all think in the comments?
Peter's letter, it comes with such a shock that MJ feels the need to be very clear and very direct with Peter that the young woman for whom he did the memory wipe spell to protect is gone, and that this MJ standing before him considers this dude a complete stranger, incapable of loving him. So from that, it would seem there's no part of MJ's mind that could ever remember Peter. But then some odd things begin to happen in the movie. After Peter swings MJ back to her in Ned's apartment and she nuzzles her nose against his shoulder as if she's getting a good whiff of him, the three of them all hang out and kind of revert to their old ways. Peter and Ned assemble Star Wars Lego sets, they quote Gandalf and the Fellowship of the Ring, and MJ sketches pictures of them. Now in our Easter egg breakdown, I pointed out how crazy it was that MJ would be able to sketch Peter unmasked in this moment, considering the only time she would remember seeing him without his mask on was the previous scene on the boat when she was breaking his heart. So looking at him now with his mask on, she would have to be sketching his appearance completely from that memory and that memory alone. And I didn't notice this before, but many online are now pointing out, in this sketch, MJ is drawing Peter wearing not the new suit that he's currently wearing sitting beside her, but rather his Homecoming era Stark suit with the squat Tech-E spider logo on the chest and a specific pattern on the arms. MJ would have no memory of seeing an unmasked Peter wearing that suit, so she would have to be mixed.
No, but she would see the old Spider-Man, so that does make sense, y'all. That's somebody on the internet doing a reach. New Rockstar, you gotta be a little more on that, man, because obviously she know who Spider-Man is. She don't know who Peter is. Everybody know who Spider-Man, which means she's seen Spider-Man in different suits. She hasn't seen the reveal of him, which is the face, which is Peter. So yes, it's able for her to see the suit and her think, oh, back then, all this time, it was you. That makes sense. It was you the whole time. That's self-explanatory, y'all. Come on, that's a reach.
In the face of the Peter whose heart she just broke on the boat with the memories of the masked Spider-Man who saved her friends at the Washington Monument several years earlier, maybe mixing in some details that have been documented in her roommate's research wall. But this is one reason why many are now believing that in this moment, Jean may have begun to repair MJ's memories of Peter. Not completely restored MJ's memories of Peter by this point because when she was talking to him on the boat an hour before, he was a genuine stranger to her. But rather, maybe Jean has begun that healing process on a subconscious level. When Jean Grey blasts out her psychic shockwave from Roosevelt Island in the final battle and Ned and MJ are caught in that, many have noted the oddity of MJ crying in this moment. The rule of Jean Grey's possession in this movie is the inhabitant have no memory or feeling while it is happening. It's complete cognitive and emotional blackout. For MJ to be crying here, an argument could be made that her memory is continuing to repair in this moment. And in the final montage, when we see MJ sitting on the rooftop from No Way Home holding that Black Dahlia necklace, the memory memories might just be closer than ever to being restored. But this would also be something of a mindfuck for MJ. Because think about it, on one hand, she would be regaining all of these memories of Peter in her life, and Peter being Spider-Man and everything they all went through in Homecoming, Far From Home, and No Way Home, but also she would still have these other warped memories of a life without Peter Parker in it. Memories of MIT, not a problem, Peter wasn't there. But memories of high school before that, all still there, but they're without Peter being in them. It's amazing the girl's not having a stroke here. Now sure, we've seen characters in the Marvel multiverse having multiple sets of memories in their minds, like at the end of X-Men Days of Future Past, Logan and Charles Xavier would have had at least 2 versions of history competing in their brains. Thanks to Mint Mobile for sponsoring today's said that there were no thoughts of Peter in
That 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10 skip for the ad chat.
MJ's mind whatsoever. Is that even possible? Well, we have to look here at the subjectivity of memory and really how our brains work. Memories are not stored in a single location in our brains. They're rather distributed across neural passageways with different regions of our brain handling different aspects of the memory. The hippocampus is essential for forming new long-term memories. The cerebral cortex houses the neuron networks depending on what sensory elements are involved in the memory. Visual, auditory, olfactory, and factual and conceptual memories are distributed across association areas. Emotional memories are processed in the amygdala. And so when you remember something, you're not kind of like looking through your brain and reaccessing some locked room that stores the memory. What's really happening is your neurons are firing along the same passageway that you used the last time you processed that information. So in a sense, you're really remembering things as you did the last time you did the function of remembering it, and specifically how you felt the last time you remembered it. You are not recalling an objective eyewitness account of what you were literally experiencing the moment the memory was formed. So unless Doctor Strange's memory wipe completely eroded all of MJ's neurons and specific synapses, those passageways are still there. They might just have been inactive when Jean Grey tried to use them at first, and they probably would not have had any reason to be active until
That's not, but that don't make sense. I gotta pause it here, chat. Sorry I'm pausing you out too much, but the spell wasn't a hold, or it wasn't like a farce. The spell isn't her being like tricked or confused or taken over. The spell is erasing Peter. It's an erasure spell. He is erased from your memory, which is why she don't feel anything. He's not stored in the back of your mind somewhere. She could feel like she got deja vu. That could be explained through a multitude of factors, right? But no, there is no hint of Peter in her mind at all. The Jean Grey part is different. If she got some otherworldly power to, jump between dimensions mentally, no matter who you are, or if her power is stretched across the multiverse, then that would make sense. But prior to Jean getting involved, I don't know yet. I do think that she restored some of the memories because of the emotion part. That one part, the emotion part, is the reason why I think that she restored some of the memories. Because why is she crying, and how does Ned know the handshake at the end of the movie? But as far as like them saying like, yo, your memories gonna always be in the back of your head, that's not what Doctor Strange did for the spell. He erased Peter completely, not stored him in some deep, dark memory closet. That's not what happened.
Reacquainted with the physical stimuli of Peter, his face, his letter, his smell as she swung with him, seeing him with Ned, and in the final position, Jean being linked with Peter and Aunt May could be the feeling that stirred MJ's amygdala into remembering enough about Peter to cry in this moment. In the earlier scene, when Bruce Banner and Savage Hulk forced Jean Grey out of that mind, Banner said, "I think she broke something in there." I think he was referring to whatever balance or barrier that Banner had mentally constructed to keep Savage Hulk out of the cockpit. But if Jean Grey's possession can rewire neural passageways like that,
am I the only person that look at Hulk a different way now ever since Thanos did him in and made him scared? Like, I can never look at Hulk the same way. I'm not scared of him like at all. Like,
I think she can break or repair things. While this movie made us feel like fools for believing MJ's true love's kiss could break the spell, it restores that hope in the final scene as Peter shares a physical expression of love with Ned, the handshake. Unlike a spontaneous kiss, a handshake like this represents months of workshopping, brainstorming, inside jokes, and just general bits and experiences between two friends, and years of all the times they did this handshake again and again and again to reinforce that friendship. In the final scene, when Ned gasps and says, "Peter, I choose to interpret started as Ned remembering everything. But this movie smartly gives all non-believers out there an out, with that little moment when Ned heard MJ call Spider-Man Peter as Peter swings off to save Jean Grey, and Ned says, Spider-Man's name is Peter? So it's equally valid to interpret this final moment as Ned just realizing that Peter is Spider-Man and that's it. Director Destin Daniel Cretton has said that he deliberately wanted to leave this final moment ambiguous. Also, this very nice person on Twitter explained to me that muscle memory and cognitive memory are not the same, that Ned could have gone through the motions of the handshake without fully remembering his history with Peter. That's fair, but this really all comes down to how much of this neuroscience does Destin Daniel Cretton actually know and consider to be a factual priority in these scenes of the movie. If you believe that Ned remembers everything, Cretton wants you to believe that, and gave you enough in this movie to back that up. Ultimately, I don't think it was just Jean Grey and the impact of her possession that restored MJ and or Ned's memories of Peter. I think for MJ, it was specifically seeing Peter with Ned. After watching this movie 4 times, I really do think Ned is the key to it all. There's just something about our forgotten source.
This is another thing, right? And I hope that he touches on this. Ned has hidden sorcerer abilities. So him getting the memory back on his own does kind of make sense because he's supernatural himself. So I can see how they could write that in there and make him easier to get his memory back before MJ. As we know right now, MJ is just a regular human. Ned is not.
From No Way Home that allowed MJ to remember what Peter's homecoming era suit and face looked like. It was the memory Ned cited of sitting on the rooftop with MJ that allowed her to keep any part of that memory to repopulate it with Peter later. And it was Ned's Spidey Tracker app that finds a new Spider-Man in space in the post-credit scene. I think Ned is the key to it all. So I don't know if Jean Grey actively repaired MJ's memories, but I do think a combination of these stimuli caused Jean's synapses and neurons to reawaken and reconnect. And I now think she is doing what Peter did in No Way Home, choosing to stay alone, so that this guy she once loved can get what he needs now, in friendship and maybe in that new cool blonde chick sitting next to Cindy Moon at Empire State University. Comment down below with your
Man, what do y'all think, man? What do y'all think? I want y'all to leave it in the comments, man. I think that she did break something and broke a little bit of Doctor Strange's spell, but I don't think that everybody just know what's going on now. I'm not saying that. I don't think Ned and MJ know exactly what's going on. I think what she did was she restored those memories back from multiple universes of all of them knowing each other. I think her power stretched farther mentally than it did physically and pulsing everybody. And she accidentally opened up a multiverse of memories in their brain. That's what I think. What do y'all think happened? Leave it in the comments and I'll see y'all in the next video.